The Duck Amikaze Strikes Back is a satirical 2D precision platformer that sees you play as a duck set on fire like a bomb to charge its way through momentum-based 2D precision platforming to ensure that you reach the end of the level on time to explode and kill the poacher or fisherman that's sitting on his porch enjoying a lovely day before his doom has been reached. This game is equal parts precision platformer, but also a memory game to some degree, because so much of this experience is about making sure that you chain together leaps and jumps consecutively. And so if you don't remember which jump needs a bit of running, which one can be done jumping from a standing environment, where there's going to be spikes popping out somewhere, or maybe there's a piranha flying out of the water, or a fox is going to charge at you, and then there's flies everywhere. You've got to try and work out how you can kind of dodge and weave your way through all of this, because they'll all trigger at very specific times. That requires a lot of memory to try and get it right. And if you start to remember the chaining of events, it starts to make the Duck Amikaze Strikes Back a much easier game to approach, despite it still being a hardcore precision platformer. Once you understand that this is as much a memory game as it is a precision platforming game, then you're off and away, because you'll start to compartmentalize parts of the level into their own little segments for you to then clear, and then be like, whew, deep breath, off and away we go. This game is still exacting and it still demands absolute precision, but it makes it slightly more manageable if you can remember chunks and then kind of slowly progress over time. That said, I did run into some issues where I felt like the momentum-based jumping system wasn't always consistent. And this might be because I've started to get a little bit of stick drift in one of my controllers. I switched it out to a newer one, but still had a similar problem. So it might be a me thing, it might not. But there were specific levels where there was always a long jump towards the end of a couple of smaller jumps, but you was never able to build up that momentum consistently to get that big long jump to work. And sometimes it would do it and sometimes it wouldn't. And then I just watched my poor little duck like splat up against a wall, or just totally miss the ledge entirely and just like fall to its doom below, sometimes in spikes, sometimes just being met by lots of enemies that I'd already traversed and now have to deal with again. And because each level is based around a time limit, you're really trying to make sure that you negate as many of those redos over and over again, because sadly you don't have much time to waste. Thankfully, levels come with several hearts so that you can get hit a couple of times and still survive, but quite often, particularly with those big long jumps, they'll happen in a place where you'll end up in a pit and you'll lose all your lives anyway and you'll have to start again. And so this game I found deeply frustrating, a good meaty challenge, but still frustrating because there was that element of unpredictability and inconsistency. That said, there are online leaderboards and there's 17 levels I think there is in total for you to get through. Full disclosure, I've not reached the end of this game because I'm too busy raging over that inconsistency where I feel like I'm doing the same thing and getting different results multiple times. And then when I get it right, I then bugger up the next bit. So I've not reached the end, but you'll probably see me on some of the online leaderboards, hovering just outside the top 10, desperate to try and get some glory from my poor little duck that could. The Duck Amikaze Strikes Back is out now.